If you're thinking about taking this course, I highly recommend it. If you put the work in, that's what you're looking for.
Everybody's so experienced and they really know what they're talking about. And it's really great to learn from people that really know. And I wish I could have met all these people 2 years ago. Probably would have saved me a lot of money.
I'd like to thank Paper and his mastermind team for the transformative experience.
The level of expertise, the insights, and the supportive community made the event something that was truly special. Take my trading to the next level.
Now, if you're looking to learn more about trading or looking to take your trading to the next level, I highly encourage you to look into the School of Gains Mastermind.
Boom! There it is. What's up, everybody? Dude, I love the trailer. Appreciate the media team. But yeah, we are launching soon. So if you don't know, check it out. And if you saw yourself in that in that trailer, congrats, man. So what a way to what a way to start the week off. Holy hell. Hopefully you made it. I got our boy Emp here. He's rocking the what is this here? What's up, dude?
What's up? How's everyone doing?
Is this live from the new Airbnb? Is that the deal?
I'm in, well, it's not
I
sunny
saw that
right
post.
now. I'm in Puerto Rico. It's slightly rainy right now, but it is beautiful around
Love
here.
that, dude. I gotta get down there sooner or later. Are you gonna live there? Because that would be money.
I may have to consider that at some point, to be honest. Not
no
yet.
taxes, dude. The rest of us can only dream.
Oh, everyone I meet around here, it's like the same story. It's what, Act 50 or Act, whatever it's called. Like, you meet all these people and they're like, oh yeah, move down here for Act 50 or whatever.
Did we do any plays in Discord this morning? Actually, I mean, we have a whole team. I haven't been trading really. I have some swings on still. I mean, the market leader Walmart was the last swing that we opened. That thing is looking money. But yeah, we had a lot of conversation in the server last night too. And basically I was like, look, at this point it was almost like no matter what happens, when we open up tomorrow, it's going to be a long, right? Like it was just like completely over. I don't want to say overdone, right? And I don't know if the long is over. It could be, but we do this meeting, if you will, kind of like reset every Monday at the lunch hour. Because that's when the market likes to digest what just happened, right? Over the weekend, we've had a ton of gaps. I mean, what was it last weekend? So last weekend, it was DeepSeek. Right. So last weekend it was the DeepSeek meltdown, DeepSeek dive, whatever you want to call it, which eventually essentially took out 2 weeks prior. And then we slowly chopped it back throughout that week to make a new high. I think it was a new high. Was it a new high? Pretty much a new high, I believe. Very close to. Or was it the week before? Anyways, and then here we go, another big old gapper to the downside. So, I mean, the market is choppy. No question. Oh, yeah, we did.
Well, that was wild, Paper. We literally gapped way down and then took the whole week to fill the gap.
A huge
and then
gap.
We did the same thing again. Like we filled that gap on Friday and then just boom, straight back.
Yeah. So, does the same thing happen again today or this week? I don't know. What I could tell you is that this week, I'm honestly not expecting to be a big crazy week. This is the chop. If you've been watching my posts, at least since like 2 weeks ago, I was like, this is where we get choppy, right? We're in the heart of earnings season. By the way, if you don't know, we will do an encore. If you were in the last webinar, give a shout out in the chat. I think it was good. I liked it. We tried a new platform, but we're going to do one more session on free session on how to trade options through earnings. I've done like 6 trades so far. Pretty much all of them, except for Microsoft, were like a double or like 50% or more. And Microsoft, even then, was like a 30% loss. So no big deal. But anyways, yeah, we have like a full blown system that we will do that choppy or trappy. I think choppy, man. I think choppy. We won't know definitively. Look, you guys know what happens on Friday. Well, if you don't know what happens on Friday, you're about to know what happens on Friday. But on Friday, we get non-farm payrolls. But let's go ahead and get into this. All right. So this was, kind of same thumbnail as last week, but got to go ahead and reuse it. I think, here's the main stuff, right? So what happened, and then Emp is gonna we're gonna pull up Lux Algo's post later today for a Catalyst watch. But here's what happened essentially over the weekend, right? So ECB and last week, ECB lowers rates for the 5th time, right? And we got GDP. So if you're not looking at this stuff, I think what you can pull out of it, especially in terms of GDP, these were the highlights that I grabbed, right? So consumer and government spending were most of what was powering the economic growth, but there was a decline in business investment. We have a flat net exports and sharp decline in inventories. So the headline over the weekend, obviously, was this tariff stuff, and we can get into this, but the net export number has never been a positive number, right? And I mean, as far as I've been around, I think it's been a negative. We've been negative net exports since like the 70s, which I wasn't around for, unfortunately, but it's been negative for as long as I can possibly remember. That said, I think this whole tariff talk, that may become a statistic that the market ends up watching, right? Like, it's never been something that we've watched historically. I mean, literally never been. But it's possible that, if tariffs do go down, or at least the threat of whatever, this is the needle that Trump is really trying to move. So if you're not familiar with that, it's net exports, imports, exports. We can look at that on the calendar, but that's something that moving forward should be at least on your radar, right? And then when it comes to inventories, this is also tariff stuff, right? So, decline in inventories, but there's one piece let me see, where did I put it? Here, right after. Retailers scurry to stock up before possible tariffs. So this is kind of funky. So I believe Costco, Walmart, probably the best really good in terms of like inventory control stuff. A lot of people have been looking. I get this chart request for A&F all the time. They're usually pretty good in terms of inventory control, but this could be impacting things like a Nike, like a Target, and some of your other retailers, right? So if they don't play their cards right, it is something to be cautious of. We also got FOMC, of course. So that left Fed fund rates unchanged. And really the commentary was like, yes, we do have inflation concerns still, but employment is in good shape. And if you're not familiar, again, what are the Fed's 2 charters? It's 1, to promote full employment, and 2, to promote stable prices or keep inflation in check, essentially. So those are 2 things they're looking at, and they have 1 tool to do anything with it. It's kind of like wait and see game. I think there's a lot of commentary now of like, should we have raised rates beforehand? We don't know. The problem is that the consumer and government spending are really pushing forward GDP. So if Doge comes out and actually can pull back this government spending piece, look, that actually might be pretty good. I saw some clip over the weekend of like Reagan and Carter back in the day on their like inaugural speech, where like, Reagan won, I think it was, because he was like, look, it's not consumers that are spending too much, it's the government that's spending too much and keeping inflation high. And more or less, that's basically part of Trump's strategy here. So if we can see government spending come down, and I'll tell you, if you know anyone in government, I believe that they offered buyouts essentially just recently of like, hey, look, if you don't want to work anymore, we'll pay you through like September or something, and we'll get you off the payroll. And this is like part of that first piece of like, are we going to start cutting government spending? And over the years, as we've looked at this stuff, non-farm payrolls specifically, also, that's one piece that I'll tell you, government payrolls have been going up, and keeping a lot of this high. So, watching that drop, I don't know how the market's going to react to it, but is essentially what the plan is supposed to look like near term. So hopefully that helps. The big headline that moved markets, it actually started Friday. I think Friday was a Reuters article that came out and said, hey, look, the tariffs are not going to go down. And then the White House Post, calling BS on Reuters and being like, yeah, they're going down. and the sell-off began Friday afternoon pretty heavily, actually. You could have seen that, and like just outflows were I mean, there are no inflows, and
it was brutal.
Yeah, it was pretty brutal. But the gap down essentially took us very close to, if not at, your downside targets at the same time. So I was like, I do think we're choppy from here. I don't know that we're out of the woods. If we do get another leg down, what I will say is I don't think it's going to be a big one. And if we do, it'll probably be the last one, at least until next month, right? So we'll really have to see. I think this Friday we do get NFP. That's going to be the biggest thing. But yeah, the tariffs on Mexico, Canada, that's what we opened the market with. And then middle of the day today, just after the open, we got, I think it was a headline that the tariffs are off. Is that right, Emp?
Yeah, so Claudia Sheinbaum, the Mexican president, held a press conference. That's where you saw the reaction in the market. But before the press conference she held right after speaking with Trump, she agreed to send some National Guard troops to the border. Basically, they came to an agreement to help stop some of the drug trafficking. And she proposed to Trump, and Trump accepted a 1-month pause on that 25% tariff on Mexico.
Yeah. So it's been a rough one. And if you're trading this, what's up, Jesse? By the way, welcome home to anybody coming over from Jesse's place. But yeah, it's a choppy trade, right? So we are going to be very much headline driven. I would say absolutely expect some knee-jerk reactions net. I don't at this moment here. What's true is that I don't see a lot of inflows. So I don't see big money stepping in here. This actually looks fairly weak at the moment, but not nearly as weak as it was. And we can see some other things like gold, right? So we don't talk a whole lot about gold, but gold specifically, I mean, like this was one where, look, I mean, a huge ripper to the upside, right? And I can just pull this up and we'll do this here in a little bit, but a huge ripper to the upside. I'll just move this to a daily and take off all our drawings, make it a clean chart. But it was open, straight down. I mean, there's no stopping in this gold chart here. This looks pretty bullish net. So, I mean, this was one tell, hey, look, it's not
nothing bearish about all-time highs.
Nothing bearish about all-time highs, but it is a safety trade, right? So you have to be cautious about that, right? 10-year coming down, the yields. And we've talked about the dollar. This was the biggest concern, right? So the dollar index right here, huge jump this morning, all the way up to nearly 52-week highs, but not quite, right? So a big push up right into overhead resistance, getting rejected here. Now I think it's just time to breathe, right? Like take a moment, breathe for a little bit. I heard a lot of murmurings going like, is this really a drug war or is this a trade war? So there's a lot of stuff getting mixed up. It's very hard to decipher for the market, and it's a little bit uneasy. So after this week, though, it's going to be crystal clear for me. And if you don't know why, it's because we will get our non-farm payroll numbers on Friday, and we'll take a market read from there. But moving forward, so this is kind of where we are. I've been showing this chart for the last all year, and then some, but we are firmly right here. So this is a 4-year cycle, presidential cycle of the S&P, 70-something year trends. I mean, this is normal, right? So an earlier dip, totally normal. But whether or not we get this ripper post-March, that's TBD. But usually this ends up happening in February, this just little dipski to the downside. I'll do a quick overview on what we've had for earnings so far, and then Amp, I'll hand it over to you if you want to get your screen share set up. But so basically, we've had 16 Dow 30 components report, and this is what I track, right? What we're looking for is are we trending higher, lower? Are we meeting expectations? Now, mind you, regardless of what the price action does for these stocks doesn't have anything to do with it. This is just, are they beating or are they missing? And so far, we're pretty much on par, right? So 14 beats, 2 misses being Boeing and Chevron. Of these two, I would say look at Boeing, man. This stock has had every opportunity to get absolutely shellacked, and it's still in the 170s, like tagging 180s here and there, right? So like, I don't know, man. This seems to me, look, it's a top 5 2025. It's potentially a big time turnaround happening on the stock. I just feel like, yeah, the bottom's in. Does that mean that we're gonna just turn around and go higher? No, right? But I'm pretty confident that we were max bad news right around the 140s. So what I'm looking at here is like every dip is still getting bought on Boeing. Chevron, little bit different story. I haven't looked at the chart today. But yeah, still, even this one's still kind of in the chop mode. Actually, if I were to pick a market that looked completely range bound, it would probably be oil right now with all these like headlines going back and forth. I don't know that a big breakdown is gonna happen, but we did see that 81 is the top of the range. So we'll see. So that said, Emp, I'm going to hand it over to you. And
yeah, I think we have 120-ish S&P 500 companies reporting this week. So just to go with your comment, that a lot
S&P, yeah, I think it's like 600 something total.
Yeah,
it's crazy, dude.
Yeah, so yeah. The S&P 500, you have 20+% of companies reporting. So that's a big amount on top of everything else. So let's take a look at it. Lux Algo team, shout out to BK and the crew over there. You thought volatility ended with FOMC last week? No way. It's just heating up.
Yes,
so,
sir.
And you see this tariff, and in parentheses, crash market on this teleprompter.
That's hilarious.
This is great work. Like if you just saw this as like the graphic and you didn't look, this is underappreciated within this. So fantastic job by them. All right, Monday, we're already past a lot of stuff. We did have some of the ISM manufacturing stuff this morning. It was interesting. I don't know if you saw those numbers paper, but pretty much all of them came in over 50, which is showing expansion in the market, which is a little bit interesting. This right here, I just want to highlight real quickly. Fed Bostic. We also had Fed Collins, Susan Collins, speaking a little bit this morning. Fed Bostic is supposed to be speaking right now, I believe. What is that? 10 more minutes. Yep. We only heard on Friday. We heard a little bit from Barkin, I guess, but all your Fed speakers are also coming back this week after the blackout period. So post what Jay Powell told us on Wednesday of last week. Now you're going to get, on top of Trump, you're going to get them reacting to some of what Trump's saying, and you're going to get them also reacting to what's going on the macro side of things and playing off of Powell's commentary. So a lot of Fed stuff coming out this week just to keep up there. This Tuesday,
how did you just skip right over IBM Investor Day?
No, because I was trying to expand it. Tuesday, IBM Investor Day. That's Paper's favorite company, IBM.
This is their first Investor Day, and I don't know.
Is that a good sign? Is that a good sign?
Look, man.
If you're having an Investor Day and you haven't had one in a long time?
I'll tell you what. They need to justify whatever's happening. So, there is that. When I left,
would you schedule it? Would you schedule an Investor Day if you knew you were just getting killed?
No.
I feel like this is a good. I don't think
that they think that they're getting killed. Let's be fair, right?
True.
I mean, they have a lot more traction than they ever did, for sure, or they have had in generations. But we'll see.
So beyond the IBM Investor Day, which will be worth keeping up with, I'll take a look at it a few times, I'm sure, tomorrow morning. U.S. factory orders and JOLTS job openings tomorrow. Like I mentioned earlier, there's your Fed speaker. I didn't mention earnings. I'm sure you'll probably go through a little bit deeper into it, but we do have Palantir this afternoon.
Yes.
Tomorrow is big. You see these top earnings in the morning. PayPal, Spotify are the ones that popped out to me. You have some other big companies, Pfizer, Pepsi, of course. After hours tomorrow, Tuesday, AMD and Google both report. So one of your Mag 7 names is going, and then AMD, the redheaded stepchild. What in the world's going on there?
What in the world, indeed, man?
What is Lisa Su? How is she going to spin it? Hopefully, she somehow brings some new information to us, because that stock definitely needs it. So Tuesday is shaping up that way. Wednesday, as we move through this, Trade balance, the ADP non-farm. That's, I don't know. Do you pay attention much to the ADP version of that?
I do. I don't like go into it, but I do pay attention to the market reaction, if that makes sense. So I think the market absolutely reacts on that.
Of course.
So we do want to be cautious there.
Yeah. Once again, another Fed speaker here. You get some services and composite PMI, some more ISM numbers down here. Global and look at this Fed speaker. Earnings on Wednesday. You have Disney, Uber, a name that I'm still long. So I'll be interested to see what the commentary is around that, how those numbers look. Disney, anytime the Bob father himself speaks, it's always worth listening, seeing what's going on. The Bob father. And then Qualcomm and ARM, two big ones after hours. Ford, if you are following this tariff talk, whatever Ford has to say could be interesting. They're them and GM, probably the ones most affected by this tariff stuff, which a lot of that is in limbo right now because we know Mexico just got a pause for a month. So that commentary may be interesting around Ford. And then Thursday, you have Bank of England making their rate decision. What are they going to do? What's going on in Europe? We'll get our jobless claims there as well. Some other data points. A couple more Fed speakers. I told you guys at the beginning, and we'll go through this list. It's Fed. A lot of that's going on. Earnings-wise on Thursday, Roblox, a lot of people like that name. Eli Lilly's a big name reporting that morning. Top earnings after hours. Amazon, another Mag 7, of course. Cloudflare, that will be interesting in that cybersecurity type of space. So interesting to see that. And then Friday is that I told BK we needed more chilies right here. We need more spice here. Non-farm payrolls, the big day, first Friday of every month, the biggest day macro wise. I agree with Paper on that 100%. So that, really the rest of this, you've got Fed speakers, you got Michigan consumer. This moves markets a lot of times we see. I know I say that every week, but this does move markets, especially when it's one of the first releases, not like a final revision. So that will be worth watching. But this right here, non-farm payrolls, hourly earnings, unemployment, that right there is the spiciest piece of the whole week, in my opinion, outside of maybe the couple Mag 7 earnings. But yeah, that does it right there for Luxalgo. Shout out to them. Shout out to Luxalgo for the watch list. It's going to be a big week. Paper, back over to you.
Appreciate it, man. No, so just recap, right? So today, speeches, right? We do get all leading up to Friday's non-farm payrolls. That's essentially the deal. If you're looking at what days to trade, I think Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is just going to be kind of digestion, maybe reversion. And then Thursday could be a knee jerk, depending on how this comes out. And then Friday, how we digest Friday, not on Friday, but next week, how we digest Friday's price action is going to determine whether or not February is a green or red month. That's just how it is. This is what's true. If I will say I'm going to do another training on our NFP system on Monday. So not this Friday, but Monday, which will be a little bit better on how this works. So follow again at Paper Gains INC and make sure you guys, we're doing a handful of free trainings right now. But yeah, that's essentially what you want to do. So sign up for that. We'll take a look. This is the visual. Sorry, it's Earnings Whispers. I don't have the Earnings Hub one. But we skimmed over Amazon after the close. That's Thursday. Probably the biggest like Mag 7 of the group.
Well, they hit so many boxes, right? Paper, like you know this better than anyone. So many boxes.
Yeah.
Data center to transportation and everything in between, streaming.
It's a massive week, right? So here's the thing. Every time we get into earnings season, the market tends to chop. And I mean chop, no matter what, right? It's just what happens, right? People are rotating buckets of money from like this group to that group. We just had, the banks go first. They get that first little move. And then now we have Mag 7. And then as we go forward, it'll be smaller cap. And this will go on for a couple weeks. But after next week, we should be in the clear in terms of major trend unveiling, if you will. So whether or not it's long or short, I don't know, right? But after this week, then we'll be in the clear in terms of like, okay, we're going to have clean direction. If it's upside clear, that means we're going to be at all-time highs. If it's downside, it's not a huge downside. But it is possibly downside, but we won't really know definitively until I'm just going to say this until next week. Right. But again, we get some interesting ones. Affirm Thursday after the close. Also, that's been actually a pretty constructive chart. I mean, rates coming. We'll see. I'm more constructive on Affirm, but I have no idea what the stock's going to do in terms of earnings. A lot of other stuff. But if you're looking at trading these stocks on a week to week basis, I would just say be really careful. Don't like swing a whole lot. I completely avoid trading these stocks the week of earnings. So like I will not be trading Amazon. I will not be trading Uber like intraday or any of that kind of stuff.
Hey, but you know what's a long now? Because I bought it this morning.
I mean, it's different. So I'm referencing like options, right? So options.
No. That makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Options are. Yeah. Here's the deal. Options are incredibly overpriced. Is Google missing here? No, I think it's Alphabet. I always lose this too. So Google Tuesday after the close. I know a lot of people are looking for a big upside move on Google. Look, sometimes they do it. I'm going to skip this one entirely because they do move on earnings, but they don't usually. They're very much like under promise, over deliver kind of mentality. But yeah, in terms of their actual showing on earnings report day hasn't historically been the best. Although I will say they have a new CFO, so that may change. It actually may completely change because that characteristic is we get a new CFO there. In terms of Palantir, I believe my boy Amit's looking for 30% growth. I think the street's looking like 20-25%. Give or take in terms of guide or in terms of actual booking guidance. I don't know. Everything comes down to guidance, right? Palantir. I feel like selling some $100 calls just because I mean, let's say they do really good and it gets to $100. Like it's probably going to be like Bitcoin, man. Like that's my gut. It's probably going to be like Bitcoin and it's 20%, 27%. Oh yeah, this is their on what they've. Yeah, let's split the middle, dude. Wiggly, I like that. But so Palantir going to be fire. Here's the thing, I'll highlight this trade. So I think if it was me, I would probably be looking at $100 calendar spreads, selling shortest dated expiration, buying a couple weeks out. If I wanted to take a directional bet, I would absolutely not be betting like full-blown leaps. They're going to be hard to like. My thing is I don't know that it holds it, right? So let's say it goes 100, let's say it goes a little bit over. It might be like Bitcoin, get up there, breach it a little bit, but really float around that 110 to 90 number for a extended period of time, right? And that's very possible. Eventually, my target's still 120s on both, but that means there's some digestion in between. So anyways, that said, I hope it will be great. And it is very much all about guidance though, not necessarily what they actually book. But so that said, some of you guys are already asking for this. Let's go ahead and check in with our good friend. All right, guys. So this is the forecast. Ooh, I see some cards already. Have you seen something? I see some cards I recognize. I like this card. This is tomorrow's card. So this is how it works.
I remember that card. Actually.
That's a good, guys. I'm telling you, that's a really good card.
That was like a 3% update card last time.
It is a 3% update card. So I mean, I'll watch the internals. All I'll tell you right now is that the inflows are not going down anymore. They're not going up, but they're not going down anymore. And we did, if you know about internals, I've been watching this a lot more lately. These have been pretty spot on lately. Advanced decline, open up negative 2,000. That's as low as you go. So to see it bounce, I mean, it does not get any lower than negative. It was like negative 1,800. 1900 almost. Wow. Did you see ADD? Look at this. Look at
Yeah,
this. Negative 18,000, negative 19,005. I don't think I've seen it get that low before, but that is as low as it gets. So
Yeah.
it was a buy.
I watch cumulative delta a lot on the future side, which is just who's buying versus selling.
Yeah,
And
so it's Valdi on my end,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So
Same
that's
thing, right?
very much like that's the one I've been honing in on like heavily.
We're almost break even basically. We're pretty break even, which is different. Last week there was way more buying on that big drop we had last Monday compared to this Monday. So that is slightly different from what I'm seeing just from a behavior standpoint.
Yeah, I'll show you guys what this means, what we're talking about after the fact here. So but that said, let's finish with Miss Cleo really quick. So this is the theme card, is the Queen of Pentacles. There's a lot of gold. Again, we know there's a gold theme, but that makes sense. There's a 2 of Cups. Oh, two Ace. Is that up or down? Maybe that's got to be up, right? 2 Ace of Cups. Then we have a 9 of Pentacles. That means gold. And then a King of Cups, a lot of cups. And then this is like a 5 of Swords. So looks like we've entered the battle and our cup is overflowing, and we're collecting the gold, and then we're taking it back, and then we're putting our weapons down. That's what I read. But anyways, yeah, let's see what she actually says. I really actually have no idea. I've not read any of this. So anyways, theme card is the Queen of Pentacles. Did you guys like my guess though? That might be good. Oh yeah, look at this. Yeah, 3% on him. This is a good trade. Anyways, Queen of Pentacles arrives when we need help safeguarding our money. Hey, there you go. Right. So the weakness is it's to be bought, I guess, which means weakness is likely, especially after last week's judgment card. Okay. But she's safeguarding our money. That's all I read. She can help us gather the energy we need in order to close flat. Cool. But that's actually exactly where we are right now. So we filled the gaps. I would expect that we flatten out to close flat, but we don't have a lot of historical data to look back that up. So just keep in mind in the back, keep that in the back. Okay. She rarely closes green though. So we could see a tough week for stocks, especially if the futures is any indication. Anyways, so let's see. So Monday is the 2 of Cups. It's the start of something new, and that could be telling given tonight's price action. So she writes this out on Sunday. Cups bring emotions, both euphoria or panic. Look for plenty of that by the cash open. This card can trend, so don't try and fade it once it gets started. Momentum is okay. So don't fade this once it's. I mean, we'll see. Don't try and fade it once it gets started. Momentum is the plan unless somehow we open flat, then it's just chop. Well, we didn't open flat, and it was big momentum early, but I don't think that momentum is done now. So let her breathe. Tuesday's Ace of Cups. So 2 to Ace could be 2-1 or 2-8. I don't know either. Miss Cleo doesn't know. I don't know, right? Which means we're stuck between 2 paths. Which way are we going to go? Usually brings continuation when following a number card and reversion when following another. Therefore, we can look for another emotional trading day tomorrow in the same general direction as Monday. So no turnaround Tuesday. That's what I'm reading. Unless it's a gap up and fade. Well, that's different. I don't expect the same magnitude though, meaning we'll tighten the range compared to Monday's move. Okay. little continuation, but she's not over her heels. She's just not. Wednesday is the 9 of Pentacles. We have 9s for both crypto and stocks, which means we'll possibly see some correlation between the markets. So watch crypto. Okay. It could be the results of of economic news or data. We just have speeches, a ton of speeches, right? Look for us to begin loading up for a small reversal here. That means a pivot is likely. This is a good time to clear your book and take profits on any positions that are well in the green. I'm guessing this will be shorts, but you never know. Don't listen. Do not listen to Miss Cleo when she says stuff like this. She's no good at this. She's not a trader. She's very good at the setup. She's not good at direction. I will tell you that. Thursday, Nine of Cups.
So far, it thinks like it sounds like she's saying maybe Trudeau and Canada give us the next agreement for a Green Day, and then that like wears off by Wednesday afternoon. I don't know. I'm just trying to play along here.
It's very possible. It's very possible. Thursday. So I hate it when she does this. She's like scenario 1, scenario 2. Basically, I don't know what's happening. Thanks. All right. Look for continuation on Thursday, but with a bit of flip in magnitude. We'll chop a bit if we follow a trend day, but trend if we follow a chop day. Okay. 2 scenarios likely as of now. We start to try to bottom on Wednesday, but fail. The night slows it down and helps us to prepare to go back up. All right. Or we reverse to green on Wednesday and then trend green on Thursday. Is that what she just said? Flip magnitude. Okay. So if we open red on Wednesday, then and close green, then it's continuation Thursday. If we open green and go red on Wednesday, that's basically this. Then it's not a bottom falls out until Thursday. So that's a setup. That's a setup. I can get with that, whatever that is. Friday, 5 of Swords. A trap has been. Oh my God, with the traps. I said it was going to be choppy. I thought we were done with trappy.
When I saw the swords,
damn it,
I was worried.
God damn it. A trap has been set, and there's going to be hell to pay.
The last time she said this, just remember, was it a week or 2 ago? The last time she said this, it was a trap, a massive one.
It was a trap. All right. So, I mean, if we rally all the way back throughout the week, then there's gonna. So here's the thing, right? If I just look, and I'm not reading this yet, but like we go the last 2 weeks, we've gapped down to start the week, to chop back up and close the week as a trap. Because we just gap completely down and take it all back.
We just took the whole week to fill the gap. That was all we did.
And definitely, yeah, open up with emotional damage. I mean, come on, man. Can history repeat itself like that 3 times in a row, though? Like, really?
Well, obviously it can. I mean, just to be 100% honest. But if you look the last week where we had the big gap down and then came back up, we're inside. We didn't gap down as far. So do we just like shrink the range down until something resolves?
Yeah, I mean,
less shock factor maybe as over time.
So here's the problem with this is that Friday is NFP. And like I said earlier, is that it's not about the actual day's price action. It's about how the market digests it the following week. So I'm going to try and be pretty flat on Friday. And here's the other thing is that if the market's catching on to this shenanigans right now of like gap down Monday and chop back up Monday, Tuesday through Friday, only to gap down again, I can see this happening. I can really see this happening where we get another midday Friday, like kerfluffle, whatever, right? Like headline nosedive. So this is, and I think at the end of it, yeah, I don't like Miss Cleo anymore. At the end of it, I'm with Olson here. Is that I still think it's chop, right? So I'm not trying to get fancy at all, just yet. And like I said, I gotta wait till after next week. So next week I'll have a better idea, but I think we are definitively in a very choppy place in the market, right?
Some quick live news here. Trump just called the press into the Oval Office for a unscheduled press conference in a very short amount of time.
God damn it.
So get used to it.
Get used to it.
Here we are.
Welcome to the new Trump market, man. Welcome to the new Trump market. So here's her recap. A lot of flowing price action that brings heavy emotional damage and tries to trap traders in a bad position. Wednesday could be the key pivot. Yep. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, that's what we have, right? So, all that being said, this is normal in earnings season. So if you want, come hang out. I got to get a link. I will, we're doing a webinar February 5th, free. If you want to be rid of the chop or learn how to play it, I think that the setup that I'm teaching in this earnings system is probably the best setup that you could do in the markets as a whole right now. Because I do believe it's going to be choppy, right? And I like playing earnings right now with my system because, oh, look at this, because there's not, I mean, it's very it does not depend on what's going on with the market at all, right? So like whatever direction, whatever's happening with the market itself, trading earnings with a system could care less. Absolutely care less. Actually, here, I found it. Here's a link.
And,
So if
and
you want,
individual names at least are also going to move a little bit more separately than the broader market right now.
yep.
So just for further confluence of that's probably where you want to look for some plays, in my opinion.
So I just dropped a link in the comments, but that'll be the webinar, the 5th, Wednesday. So I mean, choppy from here. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna drop into the markets. If you guys have any tickers, go ahead and start dropping them down. Do me a favor and don't drop anything that's gonna have earnings right now or this week, because your technical analysis matters not when it comes to earnings. So that said, I'm just gonna start off with SPY. I'm gonna clean these up just a little bit.
Okay, before you go into that, I'm going to go ahead and jump. Appreciate you having me as always.
Yes,
Hope everyone
sir.
has a great rest of their Monday.
Adios, brother. I will see you soon. Look at this. This is crazy. So this is our gap down Friday here. Rally all the way back to the highs. Look at that. This orange box is an average weeks range. So this was Monday and when we were doing it, an average weeks range. By the way, when I do this is how important this is. We said, hey, look, upside targets would be 609. I'm just saying, look at that. That's an average weeks range. So if I do the same thing here, it's still 609. Does this make sense? Average weeks range. We don't usually go further than that. And I didn't move this box at all. From a downside perspective, it's the same this week as it was next week, 587. So to me, regardless what happens, this is chop. It's not really trappy because we're not getting out of this box, if that makes sense. So the box is here. It's down from like 588s to 610s, which, yes, that's a big box. But at the same time, look, it's not abnormal. So what I'm going to do is this is just our NFP levels. So 609 happens to be December's NFP high. And this is what I mean by the market's digesting. All we did from this was that NFP low or NFP day for January's NFP. It's about not that day's price action, but how the market digests that day, right? Do they call bullshit on the jobs number from January? Yes, the market called bullshit on it, but we cannot extend higher until we have a new data point. So that is that. And again, this is funny. Like it's not funny, but here's our gap down day, basically filled the gap, and a smaller gap down today, but essentially right into the overnight gap right here. So 598, that remains kind of the area. To me, the box is definitively 588 to 605 now. I guess you could go to 609. But this is really the box, right? And if we're trading comfortably underneath 588, this is max downside, 578 to me. I don't think at any point of February we really breached this whole area to 570. I just don't, unless something really crazy changes, I just don't see that. But that said, if this was downside, is that another 5% and probably 10 or so from the highs? Probably. No, six from the highs. 7% from the highs. And then 200-day is 561. Absolute worst case scenario is 551. But we're not going to know until after February. For now, I'm going to take some of these NFP lines off. This is kind of the setup. So you have 596. We drew this line last week. This is your channel. As long as you're over that, and that's going to line up with your 20 and 50-day SMAs right now, you're somewhat constructive, but honestly, you're right on the border, right? So as long as we're holding 590s, I can stay generally bullish. 588 specifically is this. As long as we're over this, I want to stay generally bullish. But if we're close or too close to the 610, I'm going to flip on that very short term and be like, this is the area where I probably want to be selling upside calls, at least for this week. Thoughts on Intel? This is interesting. So in our Ethereum, we actually had, this was probably the biggest one. We talked about this for a while. I was looking for 2,500 and I got it actually below 2,500. I absolutely got it. So that was the first. So first of all, if you're new to crypto, welcome. I don't know, but just know these kind of candles, they're scary. It's also the only time I really ever buy it, right? So like you got to put like crazy limit orders out there. I don't buy it like out of the gate, but like when you see big flushes, you see big movement downside at like 27, 28, it's coming down. Then I'll throw like a limit order out sub 25, right? But this was really what I was looking for. It's not this chart I had on the old chart, but we're looking at this consolidation in here and looking at this consolidation in here. So I still think Ethereum's in a big giant consolidation. So that's not going to change for me like at all. I'll take it from here to here. I think this is your consolidation rate. So do I want to be buying it? Yeah, I want to be buying it below, right? Like in here, in here, in here, and a big move down there. Yeah, I want to be buying it, but I will also say this does not look like it's going to be coming out of consolidation at all. So if you're short-term trading, over 3,800, you want to be trimming that. Because I don't think it's out of this box. And I think it stays in this box. This is probably got a couple weeks to go. So it's just consolidating right now. So a big like knee-jerk reaction to the downside makes sense to me. But like I was saying, it felt bad, but it actually didn't break trend at any point. And this is still just turning into like a really big, it looks somewhat bullish, really big, giant flag on a weekly perspective and probably even a monthly perspective. So I would just stay long at this point. But again, unless you get those really big, like knee-jerk movements to the downside, I don't think it's like a big benefit to buy randomly in here, because you're right in the middle of that consolidation. If you see, sub 25, I think that's okay. But we're all the way back 27s now. So I don't want to be buying anymore. If that makes sense. And unfortunately, I feel like the market's going to be similar to that. Maybe some other people, but like, I'm just going to tell you guys, it's not, I think the opportunity was that night. But anyways, let's see. I'm going to pull through this. So first one was snow. We can take a look at this. So these are the cues we're looking. Actually, I'll just do this really quick. So from an index perspective, cues very similar. I think it's just chop, right? So 515 down to 503. This is your downside area. But look, net, this is choppy. It is definitively choppy. It's not really choppy to me because it's not out of the box, but make no mistake here, this is not breakout, right? Like it's not breakout. It's more like, okay, they are accumulating down at these lows. And then next week, we're going to figure out whether or not this holds, right? So that was that prior all-time high from over here. And then let me grab this guy. This is average weeks range. We'll bring it in. So an average weeks range, this was from Monday, would have been back to that. Yeah, we're still in that 540, 535 area. Downside is actually low, like 490s. We'd be retesting this area. So 490 downside, 540s upside, 535s. That's where. So this is the box. I honestly think that we sit right in the middle of this box like this this week for the Qs. That's just my 2 cents. But look, we are firmly in a digestion mode. This is chop to me. So when you zoom out and you think about it for a second, it's like, look, we're not in a breakout mode. So I don't really want to be in that breakout mode type trading mentality either. This is more buy at support, sell at resistance. So until this changes, I would assume that that's exactly what you want to continue to do. Buy at support, but also sell at resistance. Or if you're long-term investing, sell upside covered calls at resistance. Sell, I mean, that's, and maybe do some like cash secured put selling. Like at support though, not at resistance. I would say that for sure. Okay. So first question was Snowflake. So IGV, this is the software sector as a whole. It's looking gap down. Still got a little bit of room to fill the gap itself. This is a weekly. I'm just going to move this really quick. So weekly chart. It's also not looking like something I want to press per se. So that's the software sector itself. I think like if you get this big pullback, like then yeah, but that looks a little tough, quite frankly. I'm just gonna, this is a daily scale. Yeah, I don't like this actually. Not from this perspective. So I guess it would have to really depend on your time horizon. I just feel like, okay, there's this kind of basing and I see it. But it's still super choppy. So I think so Palantir, if you didn't know, is a big part of this ETF. Snowflake also, but this is like CRM, things like that. So I just want to do a sector check, right? So sector check there. Is a very similar setup. Yeah. I'm going to stay away from Bucky on this one. I see it, and you have like this downtrend. This was the pullback this year. 155 was this was a 50% move. So 50% pullback from last earnings low to that cycle high. So 155 was a decent pullback. 188, 190, that's your 200 week simple moving average. I think that's the week. Yeah, week simple moving average. Your daily's way down there. I mean, it looks constructive. I'm just not that big of a fan. It's going to be a show me quarter. So for now, I think they probably get back there, but like hover right around 190 unless it breaks. I just normally this setup is like, I don't like this. It's like one and then a pullback and then maybe goes. You see this fake out a lot. So near term, okay, fine. But not like huge. End phase. Dude. Oh, if they have earnings, I can't do it. Celsius. Okay, we could do. Dude, what about Celsius? What are we talking about on this? So not for a bit. This looks horrible, man. So on the last time I covered Celsius, I'm like $20. We're damn close. It's not look good. It's not a good look. I just, it's not good. This whole thing. Oh God. And I said to the groups too, like I said, look, I'll gladly buy it if it's back over the 30 level, like in strength, but like did not look good. It's like danger, Will Robinson, danger. I don't think that this is going to help you much. I mean, look, I think it's sub 20. And I think people are scared. Well, the price action here shows me that like this is a little scared into earnings. You wouldn't have thought that like the big gap down like this was going to happen, but you know, it is what it is. So let's see. So New Bank, this one is like dollar, right? So coming down today on dollar strength. Oh, wow. This is way up there. All right. So this is a longer term for sure. It's not a big mover. This is not where you pressure bets. It's not where you pressure bets. I think this is a little pre-earnings run up. If you see it back in the 12s, high 12s even, okay. Or like 12 and a quarters, 12 and a quarter in this orange box. That's where you'd want to like rebuy somewhere around the 50-day, maybe like actually $12 exactly. I wouldn't necessarily bet on this 200-day to hold as support right now. I just, unless there's some kind of fundamental news that changed the story here, but that's not usually where I want to buy something. So I'd wait on that one. Is this the Tempest? Yeah, Tempest AI. Oh God. So we're over the level. This is good. This is a wild moving stock. I'll just tell you that, right? Like this thing is insane. Even these intraday moves are like huge percentages. So it's not for the weak-hearted. This is a 16% dip. You see that? Like 16% intraday moves. That's crazy. 17%. So, I mean, yeah, it looks okay, but this is a low float kind of mover. So this is definitely not for the weak of heart. So it's 56, 55, holding over that. Today's low, essentially. That's where you have to draw your line. So whether or not it goes up is whatever, because I guess this thing can go up 20% in a day. Does not mean it's going to hold it, right? Because 20% is a blip in the radar for this bad boy. Such a low float. So 75. Well, so first it's 65 and then 70 on near 80 would be that. But you got to hold 55. And at least like if you don't hold 55, then you're going to 45. But $10 on this bad boy is a tough one. LMT, these are long term. Lockheed Martin does, ooh, what a fall from grace. This is interesting. I don't hate this at all. Decent find. This is equity only. Do not trade options on this. If there is one, like, do not ever trade options on this thing. You will just lose unless you're like leaps that you're going to hold for months out. But if it was a leap that you're going to hold for months at a time, under this white line, 444 would be where you'd want to accumulate. You could probably start around here down to 430s. So you'd want to hold this 430s. And this, I think, actually looks constructive, man. Like I said, do not even think about trading options with this thing at all. The bid-ask spread will absolutely destroy you. So equity only. It's a good spot to pick it up for equity. square block. So this one actually was exactly what you wanted to see. So this is a weekly perspective. Really squeezy here between all your SMAs, your like 20 and 50-day SMA. It's setting up. So here's your daily. It's setting up here for like that one more pullback to base out. So you need to see this base. I don't think it's going to break down below 87 by any means, but earnings coming into the month, we'll see. I think you got a little bit. This was a earnings move, and then just that exact kind of like you get this earnings move. Oops, wrong tool. Earnings move, and you get that like 6.5 retracement here. So you could probably see this get back into this kind of 99, 90s, high 90s area. So like $10 before the report, and that would be invalidated below 85. But 85 is that area that you kind of want to let it hold. So it would look a little bit like this moving forward. After that, I cannot say. I've never heard of this, man. BN. Oh, is this a REIT? Oops. I think Brookfield is I think it is. Power. Is this your power play? Yeah, I've seen this. Yeah, you could probably buy it. I mean, you don't have to, like, you could nibble it, but I would not sell it. You don't want to sell this. It's not going up. It's consolidating, but 56 is definitely a longer term play. You want to let this cool off. So this is probably going to come in towards the earnings, and then it'll decide what it's going to do. It's kind of like a no trade right now. Axon AVP. Oh, did you guys ask TLT? All right, so I'll do TLT. So TLT is interesting-ish. So I think this is right. So you got to look at TNX is the 20-year. This is the 10-year yield. TLT is the 20+ year. Why is she texting me? I think rates have just, dude. So this is not. Listen, like this TLT is not an exciting thing to trade here. I think you just go up like $2. I mean, look. So I was more like sell puts. I still think that's the trade. I would not buy calls on TLT. I just don't care. Like, it's just not something. Yeah, it doesn't move that much. You could sell puts around the 85 level if you see it. But I think that this area, sorry to go on a rant there, like this area is now your support, right? So if you want to up it a little bit, that's fine. Wait for TLT to come down a little bit and sell puts that are near to the money, 20 days out, something like that. That's the trade on TLT, is to be short puts for sure. Because it's not, I don't think it's going down that much anymore. VRT. So Vista, these are my babies. Not VRT specifically. That's very like data center specific. 112 actually, I think it's fine. I'm not super into this company though, so I don't really know. When you see this stuff, you want to see it's like pop up, holding this 108 level here is fine to stay net long. This can even come down a little bit intraday. But like I said, as long as it's holding this, I would expect at least to bounce. And let's see this. So from the gap here, so this is half of so halfway point back was 120, which you got to Friday on VRT. So that said, I mean, it's a lot of these looked just like that. And 50% from this low to this high is that 109, also 108. So I think that this area makes the most sense if it pulls back and holds basically today's low. I think you're fine, right? It's a lower high day. As long as this holds today's low moving forward for all of these, right? You're in the clear to me. So that would be 156 on Vista Energy. I like the spot technically, right? Like if I just took a horizontal ray from here, this is a lot of interest in this area. So a lot of interest, 155, 155s. As long as it's over that, I'm going to stay constructive here. Vista was more than 50%. It had almost filled the whole thing. Yeah, nearly went all the way. The gap is at 190. And I'd taken all my option trades off on VST and just rolled up a little bit into those 190s to trade for that gap, but it's with profits only. So it's like a micro now size for me because I could care less. I think that the dip was bought. Now I think it digests this move. Vista. So my power plays were like PWR, GEV. Those are like, this is very speculative, Vista Energy to me. The others though, like Arista, not so speculative. This was just like I'm going to buy and I'm going to make this a large position here. I think this is the DeepSeek stuff, right? So as it was explained to me, is kind of like, okay, so DeepSeek, yes, maybe we don't have as much compute requirements per se. And I think that, but having that original infrastructure with NVIDIA and the rest of the LLMs, et cetera, and mind you, this is only for one small piece of the AI landscape. Is literally just talking about LLMs, which I think we all agree is probably a commodity play anyways. So, but that said, the iteration was it was explained to me like master and apprentice, right? So like DeepSeek needed the master to become the apprentice, right? So, but it learned from the original master, which means that if the original infrastructure did not exist, DeepSeek was never going to, it would not have been able to live. And it still learns from the original infrastructure. So it's not like you can just not have that original infrastructure. So I think that calling the BS on this AI pullback is probably appropriate, but maybe not necessarily for NVIDIA when you go and drill in a little bit deeper into some of that, like the actual builds, because there's not the GPUs in the DeepSeek build, like from what I saw. What is still there is the memory. It's clearly like a massive power drain. Maybe not as much as the originals. So seeing some of the power stuff pull back makes sense to me. Like your VRT, I don't know if that's because that's very data center specific. We'd come back into play, but like your Quanta Power, G Vernova, all that kind of stuff, that's like the backbone of America type power that was getting a little extra boost from data center. So I stay along those. We're like a VST, VRT, very thematic, very data center focused. So anyways, but that said, networking and the edge, this is where Arista and Astera live, to me is like, that did not change at all. If anything, we're going to have more networking needs. So I'm calling bullshit on this one specifically, if this makes sense. So while no, there may not be the GPU requirements, yes, there absolutely is the networking requirements. And if anything, if nothing else, the networking requirements are going to get bigger and have to be faster. So to me, the pullback on Arista and the pullback on like Astera, which is this, that I think are the real opportunities in this scenario. Not even so much VST or VRT, but the network and the componentry of that specific workload or transport layer, if you will, not even workload, transport layer. If you're thinking about it this way, the network, so like the GPU and CPU memory, that's all used to process, and process the data. But what do you do once you get the data? The data output is just getting faster and faster and faster. But the data has to be sent over what? It gets sent over the network. So to me, Arista, best of breed here, fastest. This is where I call BS. So that's just me. I could be wrong. So I really like Arista specifically. And Astera was just like, hey, look, it's components essentially that go into Arista switching. I think, yeah, these two dips are the ones that I was drooling over most. Hopefully that helps. So like when it comes to things like SMCI, right? And so Enphase, look, looks like it's bottoming out, but this ain't going nowhere. This is total gambler's bet. You're living on the edge, my bro, like always. That could go either way. I have no idea. But SMCI, Dell, see, like you're still going to need the server infrastructure. So the boxes, even this stuff, the boxes are still going to be required, man. It's just whether or not these NVIDIA GPUs are necessarily going in the boxes. I don't know. Or whose GPUs are going in the boxes. I don't know. But you know what I do know? That they still need the boxes. So, okay. That's where I'm at. Carvana. This is a no touch to me. You're right at the highs. It's not a breakout market, right? Because when you think about this stuff, look, you sell, like it might, I would be looking more for like a breakdown on Carvana. I don't know when they report. Yeah, I would expect this to actually pull back heavily. This could be a short before earnings, which is the 19th. So you got a week and a half before earnings, because this is like a big move back to the upside. It's right here. I would not be surprised to see this pull back ahead of earnings. But I would wait till like 250s, or if you see this reject here, because so today, this is interesting, man. Okay, so you might have caught me on one here as a potential not long. I would be selling upside calls here ahead of the report, but like this could be. So you have a higher high. This is your low, but then you have a lower low, and you have a lower high so far. So this could be a short entry. If you don't know what a short entry looks like, it looks like a lower high. So you have your high and then lower high, and your pivot's going to be basically 248, but it's not a breakdown level until you're below essentially today's lows, or we're going to call it here, 238. So like if you took a shot short, that's fine. Your first target's only going to be 238, because it's not going to necessarily pick up speed until you get this. So this would be a different type of short. So this would be what we call like second mouse trade. Anyways, if you're below 235, you're going down, and you're going down to the 200s at least. So that's this one here is a cleaner trade. But if you wanted to try and potentially snipe it, you would take it first here, take some profits, right? And then leave your runners for this. That's how that works. Trading 101. I don't hate this, man. That might be a pretty good trade. So we'll put this on watch for sure. All right. Okay, so no custard. I'm not looking at BlackBerry. Get out of here. Hood upside in particulars. I was thinking cover calls at 55s. So Hood is like one of my largest holdings. Is like or the largest holding. I am opposed to doing cover calls on Robinhood. I don't think I want to do that. If you have so no, because the upside here is it's just beginning, I think. And I know that we're up a lot, right? But I don't want to do a covered call on Robinhood. That's like you could be doing a covered call on Palantir at $50. So and so, remember Palantir and Robinhood used to trade at the same price for the longest time. Just remember that they were the same price for the longest time. I don't want to do a cover call on Robinhood. I think they're going to have a great quarter, an amazing quarter. I don't know if the market's going to reward them for that, but I do not want to cap my upside on Robinhood. This is like one of the best charts out there in the market. I just don't want to do that. Number one, it would have to be a cover call in the 70s, dude. Number two, I would rather hedge the downside. So I would actually rather pay up for downside protection. I think they report late February. And I do have a hedge on, which are $45 puts for February 22nd. So it's a very cheap hedge. They report on February 12th. So I will hedge my Robinhood with a protective put, buying a protective put for February monthlies at the $45 level. Here's the $45 price point, right? So right here, if it's below this, essentially, then yeah, I think that we're coming down. I think we could get to like a 35. But the reason I'm like this is like, even at 35, I want to buy more. I want to buy it again. And so I would just take the profits from my put and then buy more equity. That's just me. So, but I don't want to hedge it, if that makes sense. Intel, when you guys, I don't know about this one. Intel is, dude, this is like, this is at your downside. I mean, yeah, I think I don't think this can go. I would sell puts on this if you really want to play. I would not, again, definitely not in an uptrend. I would definitely not buy calls unless I was just scalping. But I would be more like, you could be long here. Your $18 is holding. And it's not really like, so like your downside's like 16s. This is more like maybe leaps but really equity, because I don't know that this is a long-term transformation if it's going to happen. So it's going to take a while, but your downside's not like, it's like 15s. Which at $20 is like 25%. So, but it's too low to buy protection. Yeah, I don't know. It's more like no touch. And so if you're in the CNY trade, CNY is like Chinese New Year. So that trade's over basically here. I think you got that little pop. Am I losing my voice? I don't know. It's a pop and fade. Speaking of, is China short? Why did I pull up KC Web? It's K Web. I don't know. What's the ticker for? It's not a long. It was a short. It's probably a short the next pop. Yeah, this is rough. So they got, yeah. Like that's not going high right now. It has to close over 102. I would protect your Chinese equities here. We did do Ethereum earlier. NUE. This is steel. I don't know that I want to play with steel right now. This is tariff risk. I would wait for that to hash out. It's not horrible at all. Do we have a David Sachs presser? It's possible. It's possible. Your thoughts on you? I mean, news. I don't hate it. This is very much about the dollar, right? So like the Dixie needs to get back under 109. I want to see. So the thing about the dollar, so DXY is the dollar. It's tough, man. It's super tough. It's tough because like Trump wants a stronger dollar for us, the consumers, but the market wants a weaker dollar because it promotes foreign investment, right? So like the market wants a weaker dollar, but Trump wants a strong one. We really need this to go lower in the near term, but 109 was kind of like that key pivot. It was over 109, under 109. It's like on it right now. So I think we're breathing again. 109 and change. There it is. So we pop way back up above it, and now we're just fading slightly below it. I think this is your key pivot, and this is a big deal pivot. It was wild to see gold doing what it was doing, but this is going to be affecting like your new bank, things like that, your grab, etc. Yeah, nobody is on tariffs. Christian wants Pan. Yeah, I like Pan. So I was looking for, I like, so like this is the stuff. So here's where I would actually like to be looking, as long as they don't have earnings. So not earnings this week. I don't hate this at all because it's like Palo Alto's not going to have a big tariff issue, right? Like what tariff's going to do? I mean, maybe cost of goods goes slightly higher, but like this stuff, I'd probably be buying the dip. If I bought this dip, so like you probably buy it again, as long as, like I said, it's across the board. It's basically taking today's lows, whether it's in the pre-market or active trading session, and making that your stop, right? Like that's what we want. Uber, I'm long Uber, some March spreads. So like I'm just like from these areas, but I'm already out a lot. Mine have doubled. So it's just kind of like chopping up here, and I'm just kind of like sitting here, like somewhat benefiting from the decay, but it's being offset since I have a spread on. Uber doesn't usually Uber doesn't really move on earnings. Last quarter it did, but like it's usually like a post earnings kind of effect. This one it's a small move, and then you have this continuation. But even this is like it's going up and then a pullback, but net it's kind of a nothing burger move. So again, nothing burger move. Even this is actually a nothing burger move. One move. Yeah, this ends up being a nothing burger move. So I don't, Uber, not really. Oh, this is definitively a nothing burger move because you go up and it retraces the whole thing intraday. Yeah, it doesn't actually move a whole lot on earnings, believe it or not. There's like a couple times where it has, but most of the time it doesn't. But when it does, it's a big move. So that said, I'm long, but runners. Dude, what? Why? You asked for BlackBerry twice. I don't do this stock. I don't know. No. I don't like it. Let me see. That's how we did. And Tim is like 2x on that. Yeah. I'm just going through. Yeah, VR. So, SSI does. Yeah. But yeah, so all of the VST, VRT, TSSI, I guess, they do cooling for data centers. So that's what's like very specifically. It's not like GEV or like it's not like Quanta. It's very specifically in the data center area. Yeah, and I think this is the question: is the DeepSeek thing? They're still building it, right? I think it's just a question of do they need as much? I'm catching up. Yeah. Adobe. I don't really like it. I think this could go either way. It's too tough. It's right in the middle. You know what they say? Don't diddle in the middle. This is the like here could be down to 330s or as high as fives. Yeah, so it's 440. It could go down $100 or up $100. Did I look at Apple? Actually, I didn't, right? Apple was the one that was for sure not getting any love today. Yeah, like no love still on Apple. This is crazy. But okay, maybe a little bit. So I said like Apple, if it was gonna be, it was gonna be $200. I'll take it all day, right? And this is where we are on Apple. So this is that last consolidation here. I think this is a super interesting spot, but again, it's got this post earnings kind of digestion mode. I would expect this 225 area, or we'll call it 220, right? So see where this red line is? 220. You really want this to hold, but if it comes back into this channel here, like the dip of Apple to buy would be close to 200, which I know it seems like a really far ways away, but if it's losing 220, then we're very likely going to see that 200 dip. For now, it's holding it, but it's not holding it with like a lot of strength. Even this one on a daily scale, it's okay. And this is last time I said, okay, starter if you want to add, but this is essentially here, your buy zone, right? Where like I would be way more excited about Apple in this area over in this area. Okay, I could nibble at it, but it's not like, oh my God, I have to have it. Does that make sense? Yeah, it's definitely in the chop. Definitely in the chop. Can we see Meta? I don't think so. Oh God, maybe I'm wrong. Okay, I might be wrong on this. All right. Can we see Meta? Yo, this is crazy. Look at it go. Can we see Meta? So here's what I'll do. I'll take this consolidation area. Let's call this. And then I'll just get a little extension on it. So the question is, can we see Meta 730? Yes, you can. And that would be a breakout target, but will it stay there for long? No, I don't think so. Not on this setup. So it might be one of those days where like, yeah, it pops up and then it's like, you got to take it down. But yeah, it's definitely possible. 710, you're going 735. But then you probably pull it back, right? So like it would be like a pop pullback, and then you want to see that. So yeah, we can see it, but I don't know that it stays there for very long. But yeah, this is one bullish chart, dude. Market loved that Meta report, huh? They sure did. Sure did. You can see 750. All right, don't let me get too much on that. You remember when we were like 550, 450, whatever, this buy zone? Dude, that was it. How'd you just bought it? The equity. We do this all the time. How'd you just bought the stock when we were talking about it? You'd be up 40%. I mean, God. It's a good stock. It's a good stock. All right, guys. I'm going to call it there. I appreciate all of you. I will be live in server later. Here, we're going to do a couple different trainings, but here, one for sure. So free webinar Wednesday. I'm going to drop this in the chat. Go ahead, please pop it or join in that. Sign up, right? It's February 5th, 30 minutes after the close. If you're not familiar with what we're going to be doing, it's basically just like the earning system overview. We do have Mastermind coming. The wait list is open. If you want to join the wait list, you got to do it before February 5th, right? So the wait list for the Mastermind, you get early bird pricing. You can use here, we're use code early paper 15. Use this code early paper 15. So the wait list, early bird pricing now, all you have to do is put your email into the wait list. That gets you, I think, 15% off. And then if you add this code to that for the first 50 when we check out, which will be on February 5th, then you can get basically 30% off. So you can stack these coupons. It's a big deal. I think it's like $700 off. The full price is $25. Again, it's 15 sessions, 2 hours each, 5 weeks. It's not one class. So it's a full month of hands-on training with the best, we have the #1 futures trader coming from ETF to do a couple trainings for you. We have Sim, who just Sim raked in 80 something K today on her tape reading system, which by the way, she's going to do. And then we'll do a live session of tape reading and how she trades that. We didn't do that last time. If you were part of the last Mastermind, it's going to be, we're going to do maybe 2 sessions overlap. And we might have some sessions that are titled the same, but they're not going to be the same classes, if that makes sense. So anyways, I appreciate all you guys. You all rock. And then if you have any questions, we actually do book calls and stuff for the team. So that's just make sure you sign up to the newsletter, because all the updates and things like that go out through there. So that is free. Looks like the market is back on the mend. Yep. Lunch hour is over and the Nubu boys are coming out. So cool. I appreciate all you guys. Again, I'll see you out there and sign up for those free trainings. It's good stuff. Adios.
If you're thinking about taking this course, I highly recommend it. If you put the work in, that's what you're looking for.
Everybody's so experienced and they really know what they're talking about. And it's really great to learn from people that really know. And I wish I could have met all these people 2 years ago. Probably would have saved me a lot of money.
I'd like to thank Paper and his Mastermind team for the transformative experience.
The level of expertise, the insights, and the supportive community made the event something that was truly special. Take my trading to the next level.
Now, if you're looking to learn more about trading or looking to take your trading to the next level, I highly encourage you to look into the School of Gains Mastermind.